Welcome, Cave Dwellers. You are now entering the Geek Cave.
Alright guys, welcome to the Geek Cave Show. We have our first guest ever. Actually, I can't say ever. We had a Nerd with Balls on earlier, but it's Shady, guys. It's one of you guys. It's one of the Cave Dwellers. I shouldn't say you. It's one of us. Alright?
One of us.
It's at Shady1692 on Instagram. You guys should definitely check him out there. What do you post over there, Shady?
Battlefield stuff. If you're a fan of Battlefield, that is the place to go.
So super niche. If you guys love Battlefield stuff, go check out Shady. And man, I had you onto the show today just to talk about, just to hang out with the Cave Dwellers and talk about anything we want to go with. And oh yeah, happy birthday, by the way. Michael reminded me, even though.
Thank you, guys.
So let's go ahead and get into. We'll go straight into that comment that you wanted to talk about in terms of my latest video. I don't know if you guys have checked out the latest video that I just posted today. It was a clip of Shady and I's conversation about Batman and how, if you've seen the thumbnail, it says Batman is Batfleck's Batman dumb. All right, that must have triggered a bunch of people. But so the comment underneath, Shady, what did the comment say again?
He was basically saying the reason he was like that is because of what happened to him in the past. I guess Robin dying, and he was reckless because of it. I mean, that was, to summarize the comment, that was pretty much it. Was
basically
everything he's
saying
going through.
that, because of what happened to him, that's why he acts so irrationally. We have a subscriber, Luke Wagner. Thank you for subbing. Thank you for checking out the channel. Thank you for becoming a Cave Dweller.
Shout out to Corey, too. Yes, I could see the chat, guys.
Awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much what he was saying. And I kind of agree with him. Like, to the point. Like, yeah, Batman is super irrational at this point, but that doesn't excuse some of the actions that we talked about in that video. It doesn't excuse all of the actions.
Yeah, Wonder Woman shouldn't be in this movie. To me, if he is angry like that, he should be even better. That should motivate him more. It shouldn't make him less smart. And, it's just one of those things that they really got wrong. I don't care what happened to him. I don't know of any comic or story that I know of that he was dumb, basically. He didn't know much. I mean, what I want to know is, do you think he knew Clark Kent was Superman in the scene when they're at the party? Because I can't tell.
That's a great question. I think he did, just because of the way he's talking to him, and then he gives him the whole freaks dress like clowns line. I think that's a direct jab at him, like, oh, he dresses like a clown, but then he's also talking about the Joker. I think it was like a double pun or whatever he was trying to do. I think he knew the whole time, but the point is that the film never tells us that he knew. It just leaves it up to us to, like we're doing right now. It leaves it up to us to come to our own conclusion and to throw all these hypotheses in the air. Like, the film shouldn't be making us, just having to guess what's going on. There should be some telling rather than just all showing.
Yeah. Well, one thing I wrote down just so I remember is that he's smart enough to know that kryptonite can weaken him, and he's smart enough to find it. But he's the Wonder Woman thing, where she finds his, the cable. I'm up in the air on that, where I could see it happening, but I could see it not happening,
Yeah, I mean, that could have just been because wasn't he distracted by what's her name? The Lex Luthor's girl, Mercy Graves. Wasn't he distracted by her? And then when she leaves, he turns around and then he sees Wonder Woman with it, taking it and walking away? Or
no, that's when he's setting it up. And right after that, he says, I can't stay down here all day, Alfred. And then that's when Alfred tells him where to connect it.
Ah, okay. So that you can't even use that as an excuse.
Yeah, you can't. No, you can't. Yeah, I don't. There's.
I mean,
loss
in the
of
video,
words.
we went hard on Batman and him not being a real detective. But you are right, what you just brought up, in the fact that he did know kryptonite existed. He did know that kryptonite harms Superman, and he stole it from Lex's LexCorp. So there was some level of detective work going on. Yeah. But still, in terms of, I don't think he should be able to rationalize everything on being, irrational, because we haven't even learned anything about his backstory. They haven't told us why he's killing people. They haven't told us why he's so angry. So the audience is kind of just left to just theorize stuff, just like we're doing.
Well, that's the one thing that worries me about the DCEU, is that it caters to mostly hardcore comic fans, and the biggest example of that is the nightmare sequence. Nobody had a clue what was going on. like nobody. We did, we didn't know it was a dream. We guessed, but if you're just watching the movie, the one thing about this movie, it jumps from scene to scene to scene to scene to scene, and the extended edition does a lot. It does a better job of the scene transition. But if you're watching the original version, you have no clue what is going on.
Yeah, exactly. And like my parents, I went with my parents to the theater to see that movie, and I was just like, these people, like, they probably have no idea what's going on with this premonition. Or, dude, I bet me and you still don't know if it's a premonition or if it's a nightmare or if it's what is it? What was that? The Flash thing.
I'm thinking, okay, this is what I think, is that Flash sent him that message somehow by going back in time. I don't think it was, because there's no way that's a dream, and
because he just woke up from a dream.
Yeah,
right.
I can't. Well, that was the first one, and then when he woke up from it, Flash is in his face. So I think I read somewhere in another forum when the movie was initially released, and they were saying that this is a message that Flash was able to send to him. I don't know if he had that ability in the comics and at other storylines, but they're basically saying he gave him this dream and then came through at the end, and that's why it's all connected.
Yeah, he sometimes he has the ability to use the Speed Force to go back and deliver a message. But okay, you're saying that the Flash thing was a message, not a. So the Nightmare Batman, scene, that was a premonition and not a nightmare, or was it both? Was it a nightmare and a premonition?
Well, premonition, you mean by Batman literally seeing the future, or you're talking about Flash is into that?
Well, the Batman thing, because towards the end, Bruce says, something's coming, and he's taking his nightmare like it's going to happen. So it's not a nightmare; it's a premonition of what's going to come, right?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a premonition. I don't think we'll see that exact scene, but we might see it later on. But yeah, I definitely think that was a premonition, and it just wasn't a random dream. It's too coincidence. I mean, if it is a dream, then DC's more screwed up than we thought it was, because it makes no sense.
Wait, okay, I was going to say this now. You guys want to know the moment where I was like, scared for the film when I was watching? I was like, uh-oh. Was when it started at the very beginning, because I thought the opening sequence where they showed the Bruce Wayne's parents getting killed, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was shot beautifully. I thought the music was great. I thought the imagery was very Snyder. I mean, that's what he's good at. He's great with giving us beautiful visuals. But the moment I was like, wait a second, was when little Bruce Wayne is floating up the well. And he was being lifted by bats. I was like, okay, what's going on here? Please just don't go in this direction. Like, I get the imagery, but you don't have to. It was just too much for me. I was like,
From what I know, that was a dream. That sequence was not real. That was a dream, because he says.
Of course. Yeah. Of course, bats can't really lift a kid.
No. I thought you were thinking it was. I mean, hey, man, you can think anything with DC, but
Yeah.
A lot of people. That was the only comic book movie I've been to where I heard a lot of groans and a lot of laughs at points that there just shouldn't be. And it was sad to see, because just right off the bat, with the bats taking him up, I heard someone go, come on. and
Yeah.
it was great visually. The first 15 minutes of that film can get you off your seat. It was awesome.
And I even loved how they connected it. I loved seeing, like, even though it made kind of no sense, like, what's Batman gonna do running into a cloud of like destruction? But it was really cool, like, to see him go there and then see Superman and Zod fighting each other throughout the city and crash into buildings. Like, I love how they try to connect it in the beginning. And like you said, the first 15 minutes, I think that's what it was. It was the origin of, kind of like the origin story really quickly. And then it was Bruce in the destruction that Superman was causing. After that, then it slowed down tremendously and kind of lost me after that. But the first 15 minutes was beautiful.
Did you watch the extended edition?
I did. I mean,
that part in the beginning, when they had the line, the kids holding the hands, I felt like that should have been left in. I don't know why it was taken out, because when he picks up the girl in the original cut, it makes no sense where that is. I feel like the extended cut, they should have left that in. I don't think it was that terrible of something to show, and I think the whole 9/11-ish feel to it was a great addition to that.
Yeah.
No.
Even though tons of movies have went for that. Now, let me tell you something that kind of triggered me. Here we go. I don't know if you guys have heard this before, but I've said time and time again, you know what part that was in the Ultimate Edition that we didn't get in the film? Was the part when they told us that Superman could not see the bomb in the wheelchair because the wheelchair was lined with lead. That was not given to us in the film. If Zack Snyder claims to be this comic book guy and they're making these movies for the fans, why the fuck would you not leave that minute detail that would explain so much for Superman not being able to detect the bomb? And why would you take that out of the film? That just tells me these guys are not fans. These guys don't know what they're talking about. And I just lost all faith after I realized that was in the Ultimate Edition and not in the theatrical cut that we got.
There were so many little scenes. The African woman, it explains her story a little bit better. Why she did what she... Because I'm pretty sure in the original cut, they didn't even explain why she did what she did, right?
In the theatrical cut? No, they kind of just like... they ended her quickly.
You had to assume that she was lying based on the Lois Lane and the story with the general. You had to kind of assume, okay, well, then maybe she was bawled out. But then the extended, like you said, that's why I think WB is ruining. And I really don't think it has anything to do with the actors, the directors, DC. I think it's WB trying to control and make their universe, make it what they want it to be. And I think DC needs to convert to the MCU in terms of having their own studios, or more, like you said a couple of streams ago, people dedicated to DC Comics that love, the lore.
Material.
Yeah, exactly. And the MCU has tons of that.
Yeah, the chat is over here saying, "Oh, we're not interacting with them, guys." When I have a guest on, I'm gonna talk to the guest. We will get to your guys' questions and comments. Don't worry, don't fret. But going back to what you said about in terms of the whole WB and DC films, yeah, man, I think that's a huge. The elephant in the room is WB and just how they meddle with films, and we've seen this in Suicide Squad. I don't want this to turn into like a DCEU bashing.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're trying to give constructive criticism on what they can do and where they kind of went wrong, so that they, we're telling people what we want to see so that they can turn it around.
It's not hate, it's disappointment. That's what people don't realize is I am not I'm going to try to keep looking at the chat and just, pick up some comments, but I love my favorite superhero is Batman, and it's sad to see him in this universe that just doesn't have things like that. One question was good: Fox or DC? What universe is, that's tough.
Yeah, I was gonna shoot that question to you because I just got it here, and I think you were in there on the Instagram live. They said, okay, everyone's always arguing MCU versus DCEU. Let's throw another argument, or let's throw another question out there. Fox's X-Men, or should we just limit it to X Universe, or should we just say all of Fox? Because that would include Fantastic Four.
Ooh, you would have to include that. You would have to include, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Fox or the DCEU, and that is a much more difficult question. I don't think we can give an answer either. I think that's going to take some time to think about, right?
The deciding factor might be Hugh Jackman. The fact that this guy kept this franchise from. To me, he was the only good thing about any of the X-Men movies. I liked the first one. They ruined the Phoenix. Second one was all right, but I think Deadpool is definitely off the table because that is a movie on its own that should be respected and not even associated with Fox the way it was made.
Yeah, and then also there's a lot more Fox movies out there. Then there's only 3 DCE movies so far, so you can't really compare them. But at this point, I know I did enjoy some of the X-Men movies. I enjoyed, X1, X2. As crappy as Wolverine Origins was, I kind of enjoyed parts of Wolverine Origins.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Fox at this point so far, I would say. But that's because we need to see more.
Yeah, all right. I mean, if we don't, maybe we should do what we would like to see, or what do you think would improve the DCEU? I know you've touched on it a little bit, but
I think something that they have to do for sure is find out which audience they're trying to cater to, because in Suicide Squad they're definitely catering to the teenagers. They're catering towards the casual audience by not letting Joker abuse Harley in that movie. Like they intentionally decided to omit that from the movie, which kind of tells me like, okay, they think that the casual audience isn't ready for something like that. And in Batman v Superman, they were catering to nobody. They thought they were catering to the hardcores by putting in the Speed Force thing, the premonition. They thought they were catering to the hardcore fans by putting in, the parademons and Doomsday reference, that ping 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 thing that Lex Luthor was doing at the end. But in reality, that's not what I don't think that's what the diehard DCEU fans want. Just to be like, oh yay, an Easter egg, yay, let's just get all excited because of that. No, they want it done in the right way. So I don't know who the DCEU is catering for. They're catering to both people, which means they're catering to no one.
I think it's already been decided because there's nothing you can do from here that casual fans will still understand. Like, I don't know how you're gonna. The only way you're gonna shift that is with Wonder Woman, with a Flash movie. You would have to build it from the ground up, but there's still going to be questions from people. Who's this guy? What is this? What does this mean? Because Batman vs Superman, I really feel like destroyed that. They just didn't cater to casual fans.
On the other hand, the Marvel fan has the casual. The MCU has the casual fan in mind all the time. I think. And they throw in the small little Easter eggs for the hardcore fans, but it doesn't take away from the casual experience. Like you're not a casual fan in there lost, which I think a lot of people were lost in some of the scenes in Batman v Superman and even Suicide Squad.
I think Iron Man 3 went too casual with the Trevor thing. I mean, horrible. I think it's one of those things, if anyone watches The Walking Dead, they like to throw, curveballs at you, and 1 minute you think this is going to happen from the comics, and someone else gets the death. And I think Iron Man, that might not have been their thinking, but it seems like they went more towards, all right, everyone knows we're going to do Mandarin, so let's change it up. I would have loved to see Mandarin. Honestly, I mean,
also,
Ben Kingsley.
I think they were scared because of, I guess that character is seen as like racist too in the comic books, or they would come off as a little racist by having that character in there, because it is super stereotypical. But I think Marvel kind of pulled a little Disney on us, and they were like, I don't think they can. They pulled a Suicide Squad on us, where they're like, I don't think they could handle that. Let's switch it up. Let's say that Trevor is the Mandarin, which I think Iron Man 3 is one of my most hated MCU films. I can't stand that movie.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you could take away one movie from MCU, and that would probably be mine, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I dislike that more than Iron Man 2, and that's a pretty unpopular opinion because a lot of people think that Iron Man 2 was really bad.
I didn't.
But,
I liked Iron Man 2. I mean, I didn't love it, but
yeah,
I enjoyed it a
that
little
last
bit.
sequence where it's Iron Man and War Machine like fighting off against I forgot where they were, but it was in
We're in like a
like
forest or something.
yeah, forest. That scene is amazing.
Good scene.
Yeah, it had
He
some really cool
uses like
things in there.
he uses the lasers, and Colonel Rhodes is like, "Couldn't you just start off with that?" it's
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
perfect writing.
And I think they end with like they're blasting each other so that they create a huge explosion. Like there's some really cool stuff in that movie. Iron Man 3 was just, oh man, it had a little kid in it too. They were super trying to go for
Yeah.
the casuals with Iron Man 3.
Yeah, and that was the
The
first
Christmas movie.
I've ever seen of Iron Patriot. I didn't really know much of him. Um,
Yeah.
I like the suit, but I do like in Iron Man how they are constantly giving him new suits. I forgot which one he had. It was like blood red or something. It was mostly a red suit, and it looked really good. I like a lot of the designs I noticed with
I think
Marvel.
it's called the Bleeding Edge armor, the where it's
Yeah.
more red and it's got the gold highlights. Let's take a thing from the chat because it's pretty interesting that Augusto, what's his name? Luis Augusto just said, so does that mean that DC is more mature? What would you say to that?
I don't think so because again, these are comics. These, you know, kids and adults read them both, and I don't think that Marvel's not something mostly for kids. I think it's the right balance of comedy and action and true to the source. And DC, I think the only dark movie you should have ever done was Batman. I don't think you should have a dark Superman. I think
Exactly. It works for certain characters. Like it works perfectly for Batman, but they're trying to make everybody Batman. Trying to make Superman Batman.
yeah.
They're gonna try to make Aquaman Batman. Like, no,
Yeah,
dude.
Martin was saying that he likes Eisenberg, but his Luthor is insane and he shouldn't be like that. I felt like Eisenberg was he played him like he was I don't want to say insane, but he just didn't have a grip of reality. It felt like, and it's not the true. I know everyone's like it's Lex Luthor's son, and I don't personally know much about that character, but I
At,
didn't like
at this
that.
point, I hope it's Lex Luthor's son.
Right.
I hope there's still a real Lex Luthor out there, and he's just been like waiting in the wings, and he's just as old as Batman, right? Theoretically, this Lex is pretty young, so I don't know. I hope he is Lex Luthor's son. Everyone's, all the rumors that people are saying about that.
Comic lover and Luis are saying he should have been the Riddler, and perfect Riddler, I would think
Oh
for.
yeah, I mean, a spitting image of Jim Carrey,
Oh yeah,
from what's it called, Batman Forever, I think. Yeah,
yeah. Which I love Jim Carrey. He's great at overacting, but making it funny.
yeah.
And I think that was the downfall, though. There was an article I sent you, and just random topic here, but they asked Michael Keaton, why didn't you do Batman Forever? And he said straight up, once
I saw that one. Yeah.
yeah, he's like, once someone asked me, I think the director Joel Schumacher said, why does Batman have to be dark? Keaton was like, I'm not doing it. Once you asked me that question, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to what we were talking about a little earlier,
Mhm.
the whole is the DC EU more mature. I think they're trying too hard to be mature.
Yeah.
I think they're that edgy kid who is like trying super hard to be edgy, that it just comes off as not edgy at all. That's what I think the DCEU is doing.
Are they known to be historically darker than Marvel in comics?
Not, I mean, in the comic books, that's a great question. I can't really speak on that just because I don't read a lot of Marvel comics. I have read a lot of DC, so I don't know
Mhm.
how dark Marvel gets with their comics. But if I
But
did
anyone
read Civil War, so
does
I
know.
mean, yeah, anybody in the chat, let us know about the most of the Marvel comic book storylines. Like, can they? I mean, I'm pretty sure they do get kind of dark. I think it's totally different because they don't try to cater to kids. I think they make those comics for everyone. I would say they're probably as as dark as DC.
Yeah, I noticed that that did seem like the tone in a lot of Final Crisis. I know it's definitely a dark, very dark tone. I know there's a few other graphic novels that, but to me, like again, I mean, Batman should be the only one that was Batman versus Superman dark. I don't want to see. I feel like maybe it's just Snyder, to be honest, man. Maybe it's just.
It's his vision, man. It's the vision that he started the whole DCEU on. Like, he, deep down inside, he's a Batman fan, or he says he's a Batman fan, but they were like, oh, we need to make a Superman movie, here you go. And he kind of made Superman in the light of, hey, let's kind of make him like Batman, because Batman is awesome. And, yeah, the tone is so, like, dry and dark and dreary, and that's not what Superman's about. Superman's about hope, and positivity and optimism, and it's just totally opposite from what we got. And it's too late to go back because the universe was started in Zack Snyder's vision.
Mm. And then before I make my point, I think Martin's asking, "Are we doing trivia?" I don't think so, right?
Never again. I'm just kidding. No, I have to send out the prizes, guys, before I start getting called out as like a fake trivia guy. Let me send out the prizes that I have 4 sets of prizes that I have to send out. Once those get sent out, then I can start new trivia. But yeah, that'll be sooner rather than later.
But yeah, I heard that. I mean, a lot. I mean, I didn't hear this, but a lot of before I came across your page, I went to Superhero News, I believe it was, which has a good stream, and they were talking about it, and they said it seemed like Snyder just wanted to do a Batman movie, and
Yeah.
he was forced to do this. I would like to see a Snyder directed Batman movie, but if Ben Affleck would write it,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get caught up in the director and not, and they don't really blame the writers,
Yeah.
But I do feel like Snyder's vision, the way his the camera is, I don't feel like it fits certain, like Superman. I don't like that darkness.
No, and like I said, it feels like an Elseworld type Superman, like the Injustice Superman, or even the Crime Syndicate. Do you know anything about the Crime Syndicate and how they had the Ultraman, where he's got, he's pretty much like an evil Superman. He's just got a big U on his chest, and he's like, pretty much a dictator, just like that dream sequence where Batman's hung up by his arms, and you got Superman walking down the hall in BVS, and he's like using his laser vision and killing people around him.
Yeah.
What do you think that meant? Like, what was your interpretation of that scene when he pulls off Batman's mask and he's like looking at him?
I think, to me, that would seem like something where Darkseid somehow has control over Superman.
Uh-huh.
Either that or something terrible that's Batman's fault happens to Lois Lane. I don't know what it is. I had a theory on this, a really good theory a few months ago, and completely forgot about it. But to be honest, it's something. It's obviously he's working with Darkseid, because you see the Apocalypse. You see Darkseid's symbol, the Omega symbol, and and Superman's clearly not on their side. So they're working together, or he somehow has control over Superman. That's what I took away.
Martin Berry says Lois might die. I hope she does.
She might. And then I also Michael Langless wrote Superman has a lot of dark storylines in the comics, which I know he does. I think it's just the way they handled it. Like, you brought up a good point. He didn't have to snap Zod's neck. He could have went straight up into space.
It was a deliberate decision by the writers to make that happen. They deliberately wanted to make Superman a killer, and a lot of people have said, "Oh, he's killed Zod before," and he has in Superman 2. Some people don't consider Zod like a human life because he is a Kryptonian and he is an alien, which I kind of agree with them on that point. But the thing I always go back to is that he doesn't learn his lesson from that. Like, once he kills and he lets out that yell, like, no, he cries out, like, that should have been his lesson. Like, okay, I never want to do this ever again. And okay, what about this? Because a lot of people say that Batman v Superman is not a direct sequel to Man of Steel. It is a direct sequel to Man of Steel. It's literally right after. We're not going to get a Man of Steel 2 in which it happens before Batman v Superman and after Man of Steel. So yeah, his character did not learn his lesson. He's ready to go kill Batman again for his own personal gain, which is saving his mother. And he clearly says it in there, which a lot of people also don't, people who are blinded, they don't want to listen to it and actually listen to what Superman says. I can't quote him directly, but he says something like, no men stay good forever. Like, that's not words from a person who's learned his lesson.
Yeah. And then I'll make a point, and then if you want to move on from here, we could do that or stay on the topic. But I really do think, I brought this up to you before, and you didn't see how it could make sense, but he's definitely going to be a different Batman. The execution of him being redeemed and feeling different is not good at all. Superman sacrificing himself, to me, that is believable, but it's too quick of a turnaround. And especially the whole, and I'm gonna go to the Martha scene, but not about the Martha. It's just how quick Batman flipped the switch.
Yeah.
I'm completely hating, and look, the idea is brilliant. It's a great idea, but the way they handled it was not good at all.
Batman literally spent the whole movie with this vendetta against Superman because he's an alien, because he doesn't trust the Kryptonian, and there's a 1% chance that he could be evil and that he could, go into business for himself and destroy the world. And 90% into the movie, he believes this, and just that one name just automatically triggers him. It triggers his realization that no, I'm wrong. It's too quick of a switch. I agree with you.
If he would have done any research, like we said, he would have known this about him a long time ago. Before
he knows he's Clark Kent, exactly. He could just look him up in the papers.
But I don't get him having a mother and caring about her would change anything. Deadshot in Suicide Squad has a daughter and cares about her, but he still goes out and kills people.
Yeah, I guess it was his mother's name was the same name as his mom's name, but I agree with you. Like, some rapists and child molesters and killers, they have moms too. Does that mean that we should think of them differently? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus. The execution was just crazy.
That's the most, and then I know King's Joker, I believe, a little while back asked if, and I know we touched on this, but if you think Wonder Woman can save the DCEU.
I don't know about save, but I definitely think that she can start to patch some holes in this ship, and maybe the ship start, rising more towards the surface, because I think it's a sinking ship right now. I think she can patch some holes, definitely.
Yeah,
but she can't fully, bring the ship up from the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something new, and the problem with these movies aren't necessarily that the critics, it's that the drop-off for the box office was so bad.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
The first week they made a lot of money, and then it just dropped off. Batman vs. Superman should have had people crowded in the cinema for a couple weeks at least.
Yes, exactly, and that's a huge thing. And you know why the drop-off happens? It's because people go in there and their expectations are so high, and they come out, and the word of mouth, man, word of mouth and Rotten Tomatoes really affect, a movie's gross majorly, in terms of people will tell their friends, like, hey, man, that was shit, like, don't go see it, and their friends won't go see it, and it really affects the freaking box office.
Yeah. I can't tell if Tyfly is trolling or not, because he says the Joker isn't supposed to be funny. Did you like Heath? If so, when did he make you laugh? He said name one. I can name a bunch of them.
Yeah, me too. Let's go. You go first. I'll go after you. Or you want me to go first?
I'll do it first. Will the real Batman please stand up? Funny. Okay?
Yeah.
The pencil trick. Funny. When he's with the stack of money. and he's talking to that guy. I felt like that scene was funny. When he says, "You complete me," that's funny.
Yeah.
But there was a ton of scenes that
When he's in the interrogation room and he's like, he's talking to the guards like, how many of your friends have I killed? And he's like, 5. It's just he's in the cell and he's clapping, right? He's clapping along with what they're like. That is funny. So I don't know. I think Tyfly was just trolling. He has to be trolling because ridiculous.
Yeah, because even like you brought up a good point. Even the most like insane Joker we've ever seen, he's said things that, and people maybe they get the wrong idea. He's not supposed to say it and then laugh, and then that's what makes you laugh. He's supposed to say things, and he said he didn't laugh. The only laugh I made was the pencil trick. I don't know. I think a lot of the stuff he did was okay. We missed one, the bomb sequence when he goes to blow up the building, and he in it and stuff, and the beginning when he puts the grenade in the guy's mouth and all it is a smoke grenade. That was I'll
tell you what I cringed at. I cringed during Leto is when he put his hand over his face. Remember he had the smile written on his hand. I was like, that did not look as cool as I thought it would look in my head, like when he's doing it. What he should have been doing is like when he was like beaten up, bloodied to a pulp, and then maybe like he was being beaten up by Batman. Then you put the hand over your face, and maybe it would look kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the way he did it, he was just doing it for doing it, and it didn't work for me.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I personally didn't mind the tattoos. I know a lot of people hated them, but I'm going more by performance than looks. And I think the looks were fine. I didn't really hate it. I think that the teeth, a lot of people were like, why does he have a grill? He got his teeth knocked out. I would love to have seen that.
Yeah.
We do.
I mean, I'm with you in terms of I was willing to look past all the tattoos, even though I don't think like theoretically it works for the Joker. I was willing to look past it based on character, and if they really convinced me that hey, this is Joker and he's being very Joker, but I didn't get that. But hey man, I gotta wrap up before an hour so I could be able to edit this video. I appreciate you coming on. I know all the cave dwellers, it's very cool for them to actually see you on here and giving your thoughts, and I definitely want to have you back on sooner rather than later.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the opportunity, and I really love the channel, and you guys have to start calling in more, man. We got to hear from you.
He's calling you guys out in the chat. Yeah, but you guys in the cave dwellers over there, make sure you're following Shady1692 on IG. Show him some love.